Thank you. Its function was to prohibit state and local government from depriving persons of life, liberty, and property. Yeah, it required each state to provide equal protection under the law for all people. The ratification of the 14th Amendment paved the way for the dismantling of racial segregation and sex discrimination, among its other functions. And on. But what is a person really? I'm a person, you're a person, and according to the current interpretation of the 14th Amendment, corporations are people too. Yes, as far back as 1882, the Supreme Court ruled that corporations have equal protection under the law. With none of the responsibility of a real person. That's right, folks. 1905, Lochner versus New York. The court invalidates 200 economic regulations in favor of, you guessed it, a corporation. This was only the beginning of the end for social, economic, and environmental consequences for big business. It wasn't always this way. Today, all it takes to become a corporation is a couple $100, some paperwork sent to the Secretary of State, and assuming you've crossed your T's and dotted your I's, you'll have yourself a corporate charter that lasts forever.
Doing that charter.
Technically, anything that's legally permissible. But if we pay attention, we know it can get away with illegal practices too. There's virtually no control. Do you know what it took to create a corporation in the newly formed United States of America? Oh, let me tell you. First, you had to get a bill introduced to the lower house legislature. And it had to pass by a majority. That same bill was taken to the upper house, where it too had to pass by a majority. Then, the governor had to sign it. In 1789, and for up to 100 years later, it was as difficult to get a corporate charter as it is to pass a law. Oh, and it had to be proved that during the process that there was an existing public need that was not being met. Corporations had the privilege, not the right, to serve that need. And if they were found doing anything beyond servicing that need, their charter would be extinguished. Poof! The corporate penalty! Of course, its charter only lasted about 5 to 10 years anyway, so they'd have to reapply again. Now, doesn't that sound nice? Yeah. Since 1886, when the Pacific Union Railroad was wrongly granted personhood, corporate motives of profit and power have trampled on our democracy. CEOs are tired of their companies being picketed by environmentalists, sued by public interest groups, investigated by Congress, fined by regulators, and experiencing labor strikes. They want equal standing to fight back and put their companies on the same level as a person. Pardon me. Well, it's actually better than being a real person because corporations can live for centuries. They can be in more than one place at a time, and they can't even be sent to prison or given the death sentence. And who could forget our dear friend, the lobbyist, who is hired by the corporations. He is hired by the corporations to protect shareholder interest in government.
Hit him with the gavel.
Did you know that there is no limit to how much an individual person or corporate person can donate to a political campaign? And the politicians and lobbyists that pass these laws, politicians most likely, they get all sorts of goodies. Now, don't get us wrong, not all corporations are evil, but the ones that are, they affect you and me and everyone we know. 2008, the government gives $4 trillion of taxpayer money to bail out the big banks. It was supposed to be to protect American jobs from an impending recession. But 86% of that bailout money went to executive bonuses. Is this justice? Is this what democracy looks like?
No! Bank robbery.
People?
No!
Is money speech?
right. Corporations are not people. And it's time we can pass new legislation to determine that and make sure that we don't go back on that, because it's caused a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of struggle for this country, for people all over the world. The fact that corporations have the same rights as people, that has got to end. 14th Amendment. Coming up, we have some more music.